Stress is an interesting thing because in the midst of times of or seasons of stress, the chaos that's around us tempts us to believe that our God has forgotten us, that our God no longer sees us, that our God no longer is near us. The temptation of life, of the stress of each phase of life, whether it's being 9 years old and longing to stay up later like your brother and sister, or being in high school and just desperately wanting to have it finished and get to college, or getting to the end of college and wrestling with now what is it, the occupation that you're going to be able to get with this degree, or being married and wondering how it is that you're going to get through the next year, whether it be because of the bills or because the fights are escalating, or whether it's if you receive a diagnosis or an unexpected bill and you don't know how you're going to pay for it, or you don't know how you're going to endure the treatments. The chaos of life can tempt us to believe that this is that the randomness is equivalent to God's disinterest. That if there's no rhyme or reason, if you can't figure out why it is something is happening to you, that you might end up believing that God doesn't care for you. He doesn't see you. He doesn't need you. Truthfully, in my own life, every time I come to the end of a semester, I am so depleted. I've been teaching for 9 months. Yeah, we had a little bit of a break in there, but with the traveling and with just dealing with 4 kids, and whenever I get to May and it is almost time to be completely done with the semester, it gets very overwhelming. It gets very depleting. It's a season of exhaustion, of desperation. A season whenever the stress seems to be so high and God seems to be so far away, that I begin to believe in the randomness. I begin to even start to wrestle with, do I truly believe in a God that pursues me? Do I truly believe in a God that loves me? In the moments whenever we are at our most vulnerable, experiencing our greatest chaos, experiencing the greatest tension and stress, we need to remember our beginning. Because it is our beginning which helps us understand where we are heading. Or let me say it a little bit different. It is our beginning that reminds us of who God is that we are pursuing, that we are striving towards, that we are in communion with. As I was wrestling with this idea of chaos and the way we need to return back to the beginning, I was reminded of Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5. It is such a tender, tender verse. It's the very beginning of the chapter, very beginning of this prophetic book, and Jeremiah is asked to do a very difficult thing, to go to the people of Israel and to speak judgment on them, a people that he is a part of, people that he knows. And it creates such a tension that it overwhelms Jeremiah to the point of tears. Jeremiah is known as the crying prophet, because he has been given this calling, he's been given this message, and he does not want to say it. He does not want to speak it, but it is in his bones, and it threatens to consume the very essence of who he is if he does not speak it, if he does not let it out. And in those moments of tension, and those moments of stress, it's important to remember the beginning. What was first spoken to Jeremiah, where he has come from, because the beginning helps us understand who the God is that we are in pursuit of, or who the God is that is in pursuit of us. Listen to how Jeremiah's book begins. Chapter 1, verse 4, but verse 5 is where I'm really moving. Verse 4, the word of the Lord came to me saying, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. The intimacy of that picture is humbling. It acknowledges that God is the one that forms you in the womb. It's not just the virgin birth where we have God doing something miraculous in the womb. No, God forms each of us in the womb. But even before he moves into that intimate space of knitting together your heart, your soul, your mind, your body, he says, even before that moment, I knew you. Even before that moment, I knew you. I knew what name you were going to receive. I knew what your smile was going to look like. I knew what books you were going to read. I knew you. In the intimate recesses of your being, in the depths of your soul, I knew you. And then I formed you. You see, sometimes in the midst of the chaos and the stress, it's important to go back to the beginning. To not just the beginning of the book of Jeremiah, but to the beginning of us. Because truly, before we were even knit into the womb, God knew us. He spoke blessings over us. He whispered all kinds of dreams and passions into our ears. Even before we were in the womb, he would call your name and sing to you gently, knowing that one day you would not just form the womb, but you would experience this world and your calling and his presence in the midst of all of it. Joy, smiles, stress, and chaos. Here's my challenge for you this week. Regardless if you are in a situation of stress or if you're in a time of tranquility, I want you to meditate on the beginning. Meditate on the fact that you serve a God that knew you even before he formed you in your mother's womb. And that type of intimacy, that type of reflection may change not just how you live in the present, but how you engage your future. I love you guys. Have a good week.